We think of Christmas Eve as a quiet time, a gentle night of carols and candlelight. But 200 years ago, in the dark, unlit lanes of London, Christmas was a night of pure hysteria.
A phantom, dressed in blinding white, stalked the outskirts of the city, driven by an unquiet soul. The terror wasn't spectral, it was real enough to drive people to their deaths. The fear became so infectious, it became physical. And on one night, that desperate fear turned a ghost hunt into a landmark murder.
But look further north into the depths of the Arctic Circle and the danger becomes ancient. Forget Father Christmas checking a list. The real spirits of the deep winter don't bring presents. They bring an iron pipe to suck the life from your body.
They are the Stalu, cannibalistic giants who come for children who make a noise. They are the Gufatar, invisible spirits who will torment you until you abandon your home and freeze in the wilds.
In the wilds of Britain, the season is just as dangerous. A massive green man, a creature born of the wild woods, arrives at the feast with a challenge, a desperate winter journey, a beheading that goes wrong, and a lesson in pure medieval fear.
From a tulpa created by an entire global belief to a clumsy giant who eats people.
This is the chaotic, terrifying, and utterly weird reality of Christmas folklore.
Ho, 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 ho. Welcome to Wyrd Wessex. I am Santa Claus. Stay weird. Ho, 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 ho.
Hello, and welcome back to Wyrd Wessex. I'm Andy.
And I'm Craig.
So, Craig, it is Christmas Eve. Stockings are hung on the chimney. Candles are all alight. Well, some.
And Mama's in the kitchen making some herbal tea.
That's a odd choice for a Christmas jingle, but sure, I'm not singing the song.
Probably best. Anyway, we have some cracking things to wrap up the year with, including some guest appearances. But first off, I wanted to bring back one of the oldest traditions of Christmas.
Did you get me an orange?
Not that one, no. I mean ghost stories.
Ooh.
To have a great little tale to start with called the Hammersmith Ghost. But before we do that, we have a few messages for this episode from some past guests. So I thought I'd quickly play you a message.
Oh, yes. Who we got? Who we got?
Story.
Merry Christmas to all you Wyrd Wessex folks around the world. Coming to you from the China Flat Museum and Bigfoot Collection in Willow Creek, California. Always remember, stay weird.
Oh, Eric. Merry Christmas to you too. That's awesome.
Yes, so anyone didn't catch that, that was Eric Nelson from the China Flats Bigfoot Museum. I'd say past guest of the show.
Yeah,
been on a couple of times now.
Regular guest, yeah.
Yes. And so yeah, shall we
yeah, let's crack on with it. So the Hammersmith Ghost.
This one takes us back to the depths of winter at the end of 1803, right on the outskirts of London. At the time, Hammersmith was still very much a small, quiet village, less of a busy London district and more of a dark, isolated stretch along the River Thames. Its unlit lanes and its ancient churchyard were about to be gripped by utter panic. Groups of terrified villagers and travellers alike began reporting encounters with a strange spectral figure.
It all started with the whispers. The local talk was that the phantom wasn't just some random spirit. It was the angry, unquiet soul of a man who had taken his own life the previous year. Which was, of course, the worst kind of death in those days. It was very frowned upon. Suicide victims were barred from being buried in consecrated ground at that point still. They often interred at places like crossroads with sometimes a stake through their heart, or right on the edge of a churchyard so their soul couldn't find rest, wasn't with the sort of holy folks that didn't do that sort of thing. It was just quite distasteful. And the villagers were certain this man's soul just hadn't found peace. Now he was compelled to haunt the very borders of that churchyard, and many people reported seeing the apparition of a man wandering there with a cut throat.
Yeah, a number of people in the Hammersmith area claim to have seen and some to have been attacked by this ghost. The apparition was described as being very tall, dressed in all white, but others said it wore a sinister calfskin garment with horns and large glass eyes at other times. The sightings were terrifying and completely inconsistent. Some witnesses even claimed the ghost's eyes appeared like a glowworm, or that it breathed fire and smoke. The panic became so extreme that people were too scared to venture out after dusk.
Now, this was more than just a fleeting shadow. The phantom had a bit of a schedule too, you see. It was reported to appear as the church clock struck 1 in the morning, often flitting through the fields adjacent to the Black Lion Lane. In one instance, a coachman, Mr. Russell, was so frightened he fled, leaving his team and carriage full of passengers behind, just in the dark.
And then there are the reports of physical assault, which truly escalated the terror into a matter of public safety. The most chilling rumour was that 2 women, one elderly and one pregnant, were seized by the ghost on separate occasions while walking near the churchyard. The tale goes that they were so frightened they both died from shock a few days afterwards.
And believe it or not, it gets even more visceral than that. One woman claimed the ghost overtook her and held her in a sort of spectral embrace until she fainted. Though we should note, some sources suggest the pregnant woman was merely left bedbound. But the truth didn't matter. The fear of the killer phantom was now absolutely real and rife.
The hysteria was so high that many grew suspicious. A brewer's servant, Thomas Groom, later testified that something rose from behind a tombstone and seized him by the throat. He described the phantom as feeling like something soft, like a great coat. And at least one patrol member claimed he also saw a supposed ghost discard a white sheet or tablecloth before running off, confirming the presence as a human hoaxer.
On December the 29th, William Girdler, who was a night watchman, saw the ghost near Beaver Lane and gave chase. The apparition threw off its shroud and managed to escape him. With London not having an organised police force as such at the time, and as the quote goes, many people were very much frightened. Several citizens formed these armed patrols, these militia groups, in hopes of apprehending the ghost. The tension was at boiling point now. This is where the story takes a bit of a tragic turn. The patrols were out looking for a ghost, but the person they were looking for was actually already among them.
At around 10:30 p.m. on the 3rd of January 1804, Girdler, the night watchman, met one of those armed citizens, a 29-year-old excise officer named Francis Smith, at the corner of Beaver Lane. Smith was armed with a shotgun and told Girdler he was going to look for the supposed ghost. They agreed to meet up later and take the ghost if possible. But Smith didn't wait. Just after 11 p.m, he encountered a figure near Black Lion Lane, a terrifying bone-white shape moving in the gloom. He believed he was staring at the angry, cut-throated phantom. Smith levelled his shotgun, a fowling piece, and shouted a desperate, chilling challenge.
Damn you! Who are you and what are you? Damn you, I'll shoot you!
Smith fired a blast of small lead shot almost instantly, hitting the figure in the jaw and neck.
Wait. So did he shoot a ghost? Was it, not one of the Ghostbusters guns?
Well, yeah, so he claims anyway. After hearing the shot, the night watchman and others arrived to find Smith very much agitated, immediately proclaiming that he had shot the ghost. He was arrested, and what started as a village superstition turned into a landmark murder trial at the Old Bailey.
So, when this body was examined, the horrifying truth came out. The ghost was a young bricklayer, aged just 22 years old. His name was Thomas Millwood, and he was killed while heading home from visiting his parents. The full, brutal tragedy was laid bare at the trial, especially through the testimony of Thomas's wife, Mrs. Fulbrook. She revealed the terrible irony that she had actually warned her husband about the danger because he'd once already been mistaken for a ghost. She testified,
I begged him to change his dress. Thomas, says I, there is a piece of work about the ghost, and your clothes look white. Pray do not put on your greatcoat, that you may not run any danger.
He even admitted to having frightened a gentleman in a carriage and had sworn at him. He knew the risk, but he liked the coat. He was defiant until the end.
Despite the public's sympathy, the judge, Lord Chief Baron MacDonald, was strict. He insisted that Smith's belief in the ghost was irrelevant to the charge of murder, and the jury was forced to return the only verdict the law allowed: guilty. Smith was sentenced to death, but the massive public outrage caused the Crown to intervene. His sentence was quickly commuted to 1 year's hard labour, and with the crisis finally over, the ultimate irony was revealed.
It turns out that the spectral cut-throated phantom, or the horned demon in calfskin, was actually nothing of the sort. The real culprit stepped forward to confess that he was behind the entire reign of terror, and it was none other than old John Graham, an elderly shoemaker. His motive? To frighten his own apprentice. Graham was simply getting back at the lad for daring to scare Graham's children with ghost stories. And astonishingly, he was never punished for sparking the chaos and ultimately causing a death.
It's a bit Scooby-Doo, that, isn't it? Like,
I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for those meddling vigilantes.
Yeah, it's no ghost, it's the elderly shoemaker, you know?
yeah.
It's, just not many people get shot to death over it in Scooby-Doo. The legal system took over at that point, but the case still haunted the British courts for 200 years. The ambiguity of the Hammersmith Ghost murder was debated until the 1980s, when the case of R.V. Williams, Gladstone, was finally clarified on the issue. The mistaken but genuine belief that you were preventing a crime could technically be a defence.
The whole story is a tale of hysteria. We also have a bizarre report of the Coldstream Guard soldier who claimed to have seen a headless ghost near St James's Park between 1 and 2 a.m. right after the Hammersmith scare. And that one was eventually solved by Shaggy and Scooby-Doo as just two schoolboys using a magic lantern projector in an empty house to cast a spooky image. But you do have to wonder, would the soldiers have taken such fright if the Hammersmith ghost hadn't been in the news just the month before?
That's the thing, isn't it? And the scare itself, like so many of these cases, becomes contagious. The belief in the ghost never truly died either. Some people still believe the ghost haunts St Paul's churchyard in Hammersmith, claiming it appears every 50 years on a full moon at midnight. And it seems they stick to the schedule as well. In July 1955, the police actually had to cordon off the churchyard to hold back the huge crowds that had gathered, hoping to catch a glimpse of this apparition. And the fun detail there is the figure someone reported seeing at 1 a.m. was explained away by one letter writer because its movements were too jerky and too much like those of anybody who might have been shrouded in a white sheet, which led to the witty observation that perhaps the ghost was observing British summertime.
And the terror didn't stop there. You had reports of later assailants in the area, real criminals who were attacking women in the lanes, sometimes wearing white garments or long claws. It shows that the fear of the phantom paved the way for very real human predators. But it begs the question too, did the Hammersmith ghost with its breath of fire and smoke inspire later legendary figures? It appeared just before the earliest sightings of Spring Hill Jack in 1837.
Yeah, good old Spring Hill Jack. But before he comes bounding after us, shall we put on another festive message from a previous guest?
Merry Christmas to all the Wyrd Wessex listeners. Hello, this is Nick Jubber, author of Monsterland. Well, I hope you're safe from all the boggarts, the trolls, the goblins, the ogres, the werewolves, the zombies, the vampires, and the Christmas monsters like the Krampus. Have a very happy Christmas, a was hail, and wonderful New Year.
Oh, thank you very much, Nick. I genuinely like to think when he's not writing, he just hangs about in the woods in the dark looking for monsters. Like he's just off on a monster hunt there, you know. So, as it is Christmas Eve, and provided that Nick hasn't got to him first, I thought we could talk a little bit about the big man himself.
The Osser. We did cover that recently on the Krampus episode, though, right?
No, I know. And as much as a lovely, beautiful bearded man the Osser is, I'm talking about Santa.
Oh, okay, Father Christmas, right, yeah.
Let's look past the glossy modern image and talk about where that jolly red coat really came from. Because the Santa Claus, we all know, the one who flies around the air, has a big old massive beard, great big bushy beard, and shouts, ho, 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 is actually less than 200 years old.
Thought that was Brian Blessed for a second.
Yeah, I was going to say he's everyone's Santa. He's sadly not Brian Blessed, mind. He's a national treasure, but the Jolly Red Santa is a American invention, essentially created to smooth out the sometimes chaotic, sometimes terrifying kind of European traditions and folklore that we did discuss on our Krampus episode.
Yeah, our British Father Christmas has roots that go far deeper. He was originally a much older, non-gift giving figure entirely, a personification of the spirit of Christmas feasting and good cheer. He was usually depicted as a large, often gaunt, bearded man in a long green or scarlet robe, sometimes crowned with a holly wreath. He was an invited guest, the master of ceremonies for the midwinter festivities, encouraging everyone to eat, drink, and be merry.
The first signs of this personified Christmas in the 15th century carol featuring Sir Christmas, whose only job was to tell people to make good cheer and be right merry. You also had things like the York Yule ridings on the 21st of December, where a man disguised as Yule itself would carry cakes and meat through the streets. This was eventually banned in 1572 because the behaviour was deemed very rude and barbarous. Now, this Yule figure, he's the very soul of the Yuletide spirit itself, really. He wasn't just a guest at the season. He was kind of a Lord of Misrule figure, presiding over the most chaotic and boundary-breaking time of the year.
The personification of him being an old man and a father really came from the playwright Ben Jonson's Christmas, His Mask in 1616. He appears as Old Christmas and brings his children with him. But note this, Christmas himself brings no gifts. That was left to his children, each personifying a different tradition. They had brilliant names like Misrule, Carol, Mince Pie, Mumming and Wassail. And it was his son, New Year's Gift, who actually brought the orange and the bottle of wine.
Later Victorian-era illustrations sometimes portray Father Christmas as a sort of shaman-like figure, brandishing a broom. This is a poetic flourish that symbolises sweeping away the old year. There's no solid evidence that early English or European Christmas traditions actually equipped the figure with a broom. The historic Lord of Misrule or early Father Christmas is usually shown with a staff, mace, or simply just sort of hands-free in long flowing festive robes. And that is precisely why in the 17th century the Puritans absolutely hated him. They banned Christmas celebrations entirely, seeing Father Christmas as a symbol, kind of this culmination of the drunken excess and the old popish ways that they so despised.
But he survived. He was kept alive in popular folklore and plays, often depicted as a martyr of merriment. And when the monarchy returned, so did Father Christmas, making him a symbol of traditional English festivity and resistance to austerity. And this older figure has no connection to the gift-giving traditions of St. Nicholas, which we discussed in the Krampus episode. Our Father Christmas was domestic and tied to the season itself, not an imported saint. He didn't come down the chimney, he was standing right there by the Yule log welcoming you to the party. The blending of the two figures, the gift-giving saint and the spirit of English feasting, didn't really happen until the Victorian era.
The Victorians, with their love of tradition and morality, sort of smoothed him out a little bit, but it was the American influence, specifically the poem A Visit from St. Nicholas, or better known as The Night Before Christmas, from 1823, that truly sort of cemented his transformation. That poem gave him the sleigh, the reindeer, and the physical description of a right jolly old elf. And later, the Coca-Cola adverts solidified the red suit and the modern look. It's sort of an evolution, if you will, Craig. But our original green-robed master of feasts is certainly the weirder version that I prefer.
Yeah, agreed. He's the spirit of the ancient hungry midwinter celebration, not a delivery guy. But let's get into the really weird stuff because, Andy, I have a theory about what Santa is beyond just the history.
Go on, you do.
Yes, we've talked about the history, Andy, but I'm talking physics. I don't think he's a man at all, really. I think Santa is the ultimate global tulpa.
A tulpa? You mean sort of an entity created purely by the collective thought, a living manifestation of belief itself?
Precisely. I mean, think about it. Hundreds of millions of people for decades have focused their minds, their hopes, and their energy on one singular entity. They sing the same songs, write the same letters, lead the same ritual offerings. All that belief, I mean, it had to go somewhere. I mean, he's not a man, he's a mass-produced thought form created by global goodwill, which is why he only manifests when the beliefs are at its peak on Christmas Eve.
That is interesting, bit unsettling. So the constant commercialization, the films, the advertising, that's not destroying him, it's sort of feeding into his power.
Exactly. Every time a child writes a letter, every time a shopper buys a Santa hat, they're feeding that Tulpa energy. If the collective world stopped believing, he doesn't just lose his magic, he ceases to exist.
That's, yeah, fair enough. I see your Tulpa argument, but I reckon he's got a bit more sort of physical about him than that. I think he's a cryptid, Craig, like a hyper-evolved class 1 Arctic hominid that just happens to be a logistical genius and maybe kind of a pagan god as well.
I reckon Cryptid Craig is my new nickname.
Cryptid Craig. Oh, we need to get that on your. We need to get it on your hoodie. But
yeah, so a cryptid.
Yeah. I mean, hear me out. He's an exceptionally tall, unnaturally old figure, right? Been around for a long time with superhuman abilities. Who only appears one night a year, operating from an inaccessible remote location. Kind of ticking some of those cryptid boxes already. He has witness reports that go back centuries, often embellished, and relies on entirely folkloric accounts for his existence. He's defying known science.
Right, but the physics, Andy. I mean, how does a hominid deliver presents at relativistic speeds without his sleigh shattering the sound barrier and vaporizing every chimney in the Northern Hemisphere?
Because maybe the reindeer aren't exactly flying, Craig. Maybe they're sort of somehow bending spatial geometry around the sleigh, a form of localized Christmas-specific dimensional warping.
You are reaching for the sci-fi now just to save your cryptid, aren't you? I think, my Tulpa needs no explanation. The belief is the engine.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Fine, we're going to disagree here. Tulpa versus cryptid. Luckily, we have someone on the line who may be able to settle this argument for us once and for all.
So it is a huge pleasure to welcome a very special guest onto the line today. We are thrilled to be joined by the big man himself, a figure central to our entire discussion. Welcome, Father Christmas.
Hello, ho, 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 ho. Hello, ho, 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 ho. Hello, boys.
It is an honor to have you, Father Christmas. Or, I mean, should I say Santa? I mean, which do you prefer?
Well, do you know what? I quite prefer Your Grace, as it was a bishop originally. So it really does depend on your belief system. It really is terribly confusing. I'm called all sorts of things all over the world by all sorts of people.
Some naughty, some nice, I guess.
Most of them nice things, I hope, Santa.
Most of them nice, yes, except for those songs about me being a jolly old elf with a belly like a bowl full of jelly. I mean, that's just rude, isn't it?
It is. I mean, fattest, exactly. We've been having a bit of a disagreement, actually, and we were kind of hoping you could help us kind of sort it out. So we obviously need your expert insight here. So I've been saying that I think you're a Tulpa, like a thought form that's created by collective human belief.
And I think you're more of a cryptid, sort of this giant, immensely sort of ancient figure, this like figure of mythology and folklore in an inaccessible Arctic location, defying all known science. Aren't you simply the world's most successful cryptid, the North Pole Man?
Well, I think I could be a little bit of both, can't I? I mean, I was born in the year 270 originally, as I said, when I was a bishop down in Greece, what's now Turkey today. Tell that to the flag wavers, they won't like that. I was born down there, and then 70 odd years later, I died, but then obviously my spirit has lived on in many incarnations. So part of me is a tulpa being reinvented, but also part of me is a cryptid, because there's many boys and girls and other children out there who'll be waiting to see if they can see me tonight on Christmas Eve as I come round delivering presents. So I'm a little bit of everything, really, and I think I depend on what it is you believe. That's how I appear, isn't it? Hmm?
Absolutely. So, Tulpa, Cryptid, Odin?
Man of mystery. Oh, don't let that one out. Don't let the Norse ones hear you. But yes, it has been said. It has been said indeed. Yes, I have many names in many cultures, and that is one of them. Yes.
That's been my new ringtone, Santa, just so you know.
Jolly good. Be with Hugin and Moonin. Lovely. They'll all be raving about it soon.
Hey!
He's a regular stand-up comedian, this guy.
That's it. That's it.
That's the bits they never talk about, do they? Never talk about my comedy work. It's always all just about the charity work. But what do you want to know then, lads? Come on, I'm on the clock here.
I mean, we usually ask for an elevator pitch, but you're, Santa. So instead of what you do, perhaps you can tell us, why do you do what you do?
Whoa, there are many reasons, I think. Part of it's just, it's a jolly good laugh, and otherwise I'd have to get a proper job, wouldn't I? I'd have to go work for the council or something, I don't know. I wouldn't want to do that. But part of it is the love of it, bringing joy and hopefulness. I'm part of a huge lie, a huge, wonderful, magical illusion that makes everybody look forward to a particular time of the year when everybody can forget their problems and sit down together, eat, drink and be merry, and even exchange some presents, although that's what a lot of people kind of fixate about. Part of it's, I think, part of it's my own mythology that makes me, and maybe this is why I am a tulpa. I am the thing that goes around giving presents, looking after people, bringing good cheer. But I'm also Grandfather Winter. I'm the midwinter celebration as well, halfway through the dark. And then stick that with a few more religions, and one of the, the new one with the one god in it. And then, I'm someone who pleases everybody, and that's why I do it. I do it for the pleasure. I do it for the pleasure. For the good.
Obviously, it's a very important job that you do.
Good.
But what is it that you do kind of for the rest of the year? What does the rest of your year look like?
Well, there's a lot of admin, obviously, when you're doing stuff. And if you've got a workforce the size I have, there's a lot of admin, a lot of HR issues. But,
So tax returns, that kind of thing.
Well, we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about that. This isn't, can we cut this bit? That's fine. I need to talk to my accountant about that. But that's sort of yes, business admin. There's making toys. There's inventing things. There's hanging around. A lot of PR. I've got to keep up the good name. One day in a year, and 364 days of marketing. That's most of it. But apart from that, then those, I think, who are more perhaps a traditional spiritual persuasion might think of me as seeping back into the land, back into the trees, like a, what do you call it, a white, some might say, hence the white Christmas. But I'm coming part of the landscape and part of the world, and reminding people that I'm there in the background in their consciousnesses, and also, obviously, to bother the kids with all the dreams. Is it Christmas today? No, it's not. I'm disappointed again. That's what I'm doing. I'm preparing for that one day.
Oh, sounds fantastical. Sometimes a wild god of winter comes to the table, I guess.
Yes. It's all to do with that. Yes, absolutely.
So, if we can sort of touch again on your one night of work, Santa, how does it work? Sort of billions of houses visited in one night. Is it magic, time slips, teleportation, time slips, super speed, time slips?
Time slips, it's magic. It's magic. I mean, if you want to dissect what magic is, you could say it's quantum, because as a smarter man than I once said, that magic is merely something that we haven't understood yet, and that any civilization sufficiently advanced, their technology would seem to others like it was magic. It's magic. You can't explain it. Otherwise, you start having problems, and people start inventing midichlorians and things. And when you just want to say it's magic, that's how it works. It's just magic. But I tell you what, its simultaneous appearance on the stroke of midnight in all the houses of all the good little children everywhere, and the simultaneous consumption of millions of litres of sherry. all my arteries, I tell you.
That's why I leave you a slow gin or a blackberry whiskey. It kind of mixes it up for you, right?
That's right. That's why I keep bringing you presents. You're good like that.
Yeah.
Him, I'm not
Well-
so sure about.
Well, it's the Christmas. it's the Christmas mead this year, so you know.
Well,
Yeah.
oh, well,
I mean,
if it's
as
need.
as we're talking naughty nice lists, I mean, what is the tipping point? What makes you think it's coal for them? You know, I mean, I'm asking for a friend, of course.
Of course, yes, of course, yes. Well, it's mostly whim, really. I mean, some cynics might say that all the nice children get all the presents, and so therefore you can immediately attach nicety to the parents' ability to earn money, which seems rather unfair, doesn't it, in a kind of post-capitalist society? But I may be getting too deep into the economics and politics here, and you know, whether someone's been wicked or not. I mean, if they've kicked a puppy, did they enjoy it? That's the question, did they? And if they did, well, they're out. It's coal for them. But if they kicked the puppy for necessary reasons, and I can't think of any reasons at the moment, and please, you know, all the good boys and girls at home, don't go around kicking puppies. I can't think of any reason to kick a puppy. But you know, if it's about intent, isn't it? It's about intent, and it's also about parents using the carrot instead of the stick to coerce their children into the behaviour that they would like to see from them, rather than individualistic expression. Ho 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 ho.
Well, you know, sort of the political thing you don't get much from Santa, but you know, color red, big beard, redistributing property to those who deserve it.
Yes,
It's
indeed.
Santa, Karl Marx.
Yes, no, we're not the same. No, he's not the same. He's definitely safe 6 feet under in Highgate in North London. But yes, some people might say that the redistribution of gifts based on a meritocracy, each to their needs and each to their whatever the other thing he said was. But yes, so I think all the children, they should all get each to their needs, their presents. Definitely, yes. I think the children should get a lovely treat on that day, but also so should the adults as well. Just don't pour Madeira into your porridge in the morning at breakfast. That's my advice. I heard it from a friend, by the way. Yeah.
Well, hopefully for your sake, the elves never decide to seize the means of production. So I have to ask: are we on the naughty or the nice list?
You two? Well, I haven't quite decided yet. But as again, keeping with this capitalist theme, the fact that you've offered to pay me and bribe me with slow gin and Christmas mead, well, that just might get you through the door and onto the good list. There we go. I shall send my address in the North Pole to you, so you can make sure perhaps you could send me a case of something, and you're definitely on the list. No questions asked.
Alrighty. That sounds good to me.
You heard it here, folks. Definitive ways of getting into the naughty or nice list.
I do a lot of other work, though, as well. I mean, things that people forget my miracles. People forget the miracles of the original St. Nicholas and how I went round and I overheard outside a family's house that a young lady, because of the house was so poor, that the young lady, one of the daughters of the house, was going to have to how do I put this? Have to become a lady of negotiable virtue, shall we say? And instead, to save her from this, I popped some money into a stocking that was drying outside her house. And some might say that that's where the myth of the stocking comes from. Whereas in others, the miracle of bringing the children back to life after a butcher had killed them and popped them in a barrel and was going to pickle them, brine them, and sell them as meat. But when I came along, oh yes, with my divine powers, I brought them back to life and reassembled them. Ho, 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 ho.
There you go. We covered that recently on an episode. So now Santa has also said it. It's proof that we know what we're talking about.
Myth, fact.
Yes. So, I mean, a lot of actors have played you in various films and TV shows over the years. Would wonder whether you've got a particular favourite.
Well, do you know, it's a bit of an odd one, and it's a bit of a combination, perhaps. But yes, I do. I know there was this author fellow a couple of years back, name of Charles Dickens. You might have heard of him. He wrote a book called A Christmas Carol. Now, in that, there's a lovely portrayal of the spirit of Christmas present. And I'm rather fond of that, particularly when it was done by an 8-foot puppet by the Jim Henson Creature Shop. He's
Best
big and
Christmas
he's
film.
jolly. Yes. Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah.
He's big and he's jolly, and whilst he's giving out presents and he helps the goodly, he's also giving it to Scrooge as well, until he realises that he's been a very naughty boy. So I'd say that the 8-foot puppet from the Jim Henson Creature Shop is probably my favourite.
It's a strong contender. So while we're on the theme of that, I guess in terms of festive cheer and that real Christmassy feeling when it comes to cinematic brilliance, I have to ask, Die Hard, Christmas film or not?
Do you know, I love a bit of Bruce Willis. I used to watch him in that thing with him and Sybil Shepherd back in the 80s. That was lovely. Used to love that. But Alan Rickman, I can't get over him in that film. It's a baddie. Just sounds like he's talking with a mouthful of spoons. I can't, I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that at all. He's a lovely actor, but both of them sadly gone upstairs now. But or not both. No, Bruce Willis is still with us, isn't he? I don't know.
He's not very well.
Gone. No, he's not. No, indeed, he's not. He's struggling on valiantly. But Alan Rickman's taken the elevator up. But do you know, it has become a Christmas movie, hasn't it? Nothing to do with Christmas, nothing at all. But it's fabulous because it's about the day. It's nothing to do with Christmas, when it is Christmas in the movie, but sitting down with everybody and stifling a puddingy burp as somebody falls asleep and flatulence reigns supreme in a room full of family, all stuffed up from midwinter feasting and enjoying their favourite film together. So if that floats your boat, then I'd say yippee-ki-yay, people.
Well, I will. I will take that to heart next time I'm with family and friends, all sitting in a cloud of Brussels sprouts farts.
Yes.
After Christmas dinner.
Yes, quite a plague on these pickled herrings. Yes.
I think we also have to bear in mind that at some stage during Die Hard, Santa is out delivering presents whilst he's stuck in the duct system in a building fighting terrorists. Right? I mean,
well, that's not
those things happen.
That's not my job. That's someone else's problem. Somebody else's problem. Hero in a duct. That's someone else's problem. That'll be another mythological character, the saint or whoever is the patron saint of heroes stuck in ventilation ducts. But it'll be back in his house. If he's been a good boy, back in his house, there'll be something that I've slipped in his stocking for him to have a peep at when he gets home and pulls the stitches out. Not in a ventilation duct, though. That's madness. You're a fool, boy.
I'd also like to see John McClane deliver billions of presents every year.
Yes, indeed, over a matter of a few hours. Oh, the strain! But it doesn't matter. Like I said, it's magic. It's magic. You can't explain it. It's magic. Don't try and explain it. It bursts the bubble of imagination.
Santa, a lot of people say you don't exist. And I was told that Santa was just my dad bringing me presents. So I have to ask, are you my dad?
Craig, lad, that's a question you should ask your mother. But I'm not everybody's father, although being Father Christmas and being the god of midwinter and also being a bishop, I suppose I am a father of sorts to all children and all people. But no, that's just something between me and your mum, and it was the 80s and it was the office party. I'm not going to talk anymore on here about that.
The office party.
Maybe
does that imply that Craig's mum's an elf? Anyway, I like to think of you more as a cool uncle, I guess.
Yes, not a friendly uncle, no.
So, Santa, it's Christmas Eve.
It is indeed, yes. Has anybody got the time?
Yeah, it's getting on a bit.
Oh, fuck, I've got to go. Shit, bloody thing stopped working. Right, Merry Christmas. Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas to you and all your listeners. Right, I've got to go and get dressed. Martha, where's my bloody trousers?
Your pajamas are shut. Oh.
Wow.
Never really had time to thank him. Guess he's got important business to be about tonight. So if you're listening, Santa, thank you.
All right. Well, I mean, I was going to ask him something, but I did think it would be a bit rude.
Ask what? If it actually bring me that Reader's Digest book of myths and legends that I put on the list this year, please?
No, I actually wanted to ask about the flying reindeer and maybe if I can get some of those mushrooms.
Mushrooms?
Yeah, from the theory that Santa Claus, flying reindeer, and the red and white suit are all derived from the Sami shamans and the fly agaric mushroom.
The red and white spotted sort of psychedelic ones, you mean?
Yeah. So apparently the Sami people who herd reindeer in northern Scandinavia had shamans, but the shamans would collect these psychedelic mushrooms in the winter. Because the doors to their traditional huts were often snowed shut, they would supposedly enter through a hole in the ceiling, delivering the dried mushrooms as gifts. And because the reindeer would sometimes eat those mushrooms, or sometimes, shamans would drink the reindeer's urine to detoxify the drug, they would hallucinate that the reindeer were flying. And they say the red and white suit mimics the mushroom, the presents under the tree mimic the mushrooms growing at the foot of the evergreens. It's quite a nice little story, isn't it?
Yeah, it's cute, it's captivating, and I'm here to debunk it. Because according to Nordic studies experts and the Sami themselves, this story has some critical sort of problematic flaws in it.
It does?
Yeah, Sami midwinter traditions were not really these joyful things as much. They're about hiding from not only the elements, but terrifying creatures as well. We are talking about the Stalu.
The Stalu?
Yeah, the Stalu is this giant, clumsy, human-like monster, often seen dressed in these dark clothes, carrying a dog and a sack, as you do. He is a cannibalistic giant who is kind of stupid, but very deadly. Not only does he slaughter and eat children at Christmas time, but he also carries an iron pipe to suck the breath and life spirit out of people as well.
Bloody hell, Andy.
His victims were told to stay absolutely silent. The only protection was to leave out a water bucket, for if you got water, he might leave. If not, you were in trouble. So these customs were about surviving a terrifying entity, not celebrating as much.
Some proper dark Christmas folklore there.
Yeah, and they're not the only terrifying spirits active when the nights are long either. You've also got the Goofatar, or the hidden people.
Okay, the hidden people. That sounds a bit more subtle than a terrifying soul sucker, I guess.
It is, but they are absolutely strange and dangerous if disrespected as well. They live in this sort of upside-down world, very topical with Stranger Things coming to a head. It's parallel to ours. So when it's midnight for us, it's bright daytime for them, vice versa. But the real threat is if you build your home on top of theirs, like on the other side, or if you show them disrespect. They don't just leave a note, sort of a little bit of passive-aggressive writing. They will torment you until you give up and move house, or they'll even cast a spell on you and sort of set your house on fire. They are spirits of the land, and they demand respect, especially when the world is dark and frozen.
Right, so there's an iron tube soul sucker, and invisible people who practice festive arson.
Band name, by the way. Band name.
Hang on, which one? Iron tube soul sucker or invisible people who practice festive arson?
Iron tube soul sucker.
I mean, it's definitely not a region where you want to be naughty at Christmas, then.
Yeah, precisely. Now, even with those terrifying figures established, there's scant evidence of Sami shamans even used the fly agaric mushroom. They relied on music, alcohol, or pain sometimes for their sort of ecstatic trances. And physically, no, those mushrooms emerge in September. By December, they're pretty much all long gone under the snow. The consensus is that whole theory was invented by outsiders, likely because in the 1920s, American parades used real Sami-led reindeer, and later artists used elements of Sami-inspired clothing in their illustrations and things like that.
So Santa is actually St. Nicholas meets Dutch folklore meets a 19th century Coca-Cola advert and a dash of colonial misreading of indigenous culture?
Yeah, that's it. You got it. It's a great myth, but one we should sort of put away with the reindeer games.
Fair enough. All right, so now that that's cleared up, shall we get another message from a friend of the show?
Absolutely.
Hiya to all the Wyrd Wessex fans out there. Merry Christmas from me, Eileen Budd. Stay weird.
No, watch out, Eileen. That was brilliant. Thank
Right.
you, Eileen. Merry Christmas.
Um,
Also, multiple
I
guests on the show. Just didn't of doing a two-part episode because we run out of time to talk about everything we wanted to talk about.
yes. I also haven't spoke to her since, so I don't know whether she's okay or not.
Yeah, let us know you're okay. Eileen, are you okay?
All right, Andy. So earlier you were asking Santa if he was actually Odin, right?
I did.
He who is often associated with the Wild Hunt. But I was reading another version of the Wild Hunt this week in one of my folklore books, and I'd not heard it before. It's the tale of Herla and the Herla thing, which is the original name for the Wild Hunt in Britain. You heard of that one?
I have loosely. I don't know a massive amount about it, but yeah, it's sort of akin to a few other stories. But yeah, I'm not too read up on it, so do tell.
Okay, well, this one comes to us from a guy called Walter Mapp, writing in the late 12th century. And he used this story to complain about his boss, King Henry II, because the king was always dragging his court all over the countryside, as you do. But the story itself is far older, talking about Herla, who is a king of the very ancient Britons.
So this Herla, he was a real guy, a real king, or
I said very ancient Britons. It just made me want to be like, it is I, Arthur,
king of the Britons, king of you. So this Herla, he was like a real guy, a king. I mean,
well, not exactly. There's no historical evidence he exists other than Walter Mapp framing his story as an ancient legend. Most scholars believe Herla is a British mythological survival, essentially a local echo of the great Germanic god Woden or Odin, in his guise as the leader of that spectral chase. He might not have been real, but his fear certainly was. And this ancient terror begins when Herla has an encounter that instantly sets off all the warning bells. He meets another king, a pygmy, described as being no taller than an ape, sitting on a massive goat. And Mapp describes him as looking exactly like the pagan god Pan, a glowing face, a huge red beard, a hairy body, and thighs that degenerated into cloven hooves.
Degenerate thighs.
You've already had a bad name.
I know. It is this sort of terrifying, almost demonic figure, though, isn't it? He proposes a very classic sort of fairy bargain. He will attend Herla's wedding that very day, and in exchange, Herla must attend his a year later. Herla agrees, and that night the pygmy arrives with an impossibly large retinue. The feast is this thing of pure high magic. The pygmy servants fill the hall with shining gold and crystal vessels, serving food and drink so bountifully that Herla's own staff just sat idle. They didn't have anything to do. It was a staggering show of wealth. And the pygmy king was essentially saying, I've done my bit, now you owe me.
Yeah, so a year later, the debt is called in. Herla and his men follow the pygmy into a cavern in a lofty cliff. They go through the dark and emerge into a magnificent underground mansion, the home of the hidden people. They celebrate the wedding there. It was a feast so glorious, filled with jewels and magic that times just seemed to melt away from Herla and his men. And as they leave the underground realm, the pygmy gifts Herla a strange small bloodhound and issues the strictest warning. No man in Herla's company must dismount until the dog leaps forward out of his bearer's arms. This is the one rule you do not break.
So when Herla is restored to the daylight, he accosts an old shepherd and asks for news of his queen. The shepherd, confused by the ancient British tongue, replies that he only knows the queen in legend because the Saxons have possessed the kingdom for a full 200 years. There was a queen of the very ancient Britons of that name, the wife of King Herla, they said, who legend says disappeared with a pygmy into his cliff. He was never seen on earth again. 2 centuries had passed while Herla was feasting for just 3 days, as is so often the way in these fairy bargains, especially when feasts are involved. The horror would have been total for Herla and his retinue. Some of the men, in pure shock, just immediately got off their horses and were straight away turned to dust. Herla, understanding the gravity of this curse and knowing it was real now, prohibits anyone else from even trying to dismount until the bloodhound leapt off. The only trouble is, the bloodhound never jumped down.
So Herla, trapped by his own agreement, is condemned to endless mad wandering. He and his entire army became known as the Herla thing, the cursed silent army that travels with chariots and dogs, never stopping or resting. The stories describe his army as an army of infinite wandering, of the maddest meanderings. And the Herla thing, which was famous right up to the time of King Henry II, was a terrifying thing to see. It was an army of insensate silence, where many within the ranks were known to be dead, appearing alive.
They made one final bizarre exit on the borders of Wales and Hereford at high noon.
That is the wrong time of day for a ghost.
Yeah, well, these ones, unlike the Hammersmith one, don't keep to a schedule. They looked exactly like a regular sort of real royal court on the move, described as being equipped with chariots and beasts of burden, with pack saddles and bread baskets and all the trappings. The locals prepared to attack with spears, thinking they were under some invasion by a foreign ruler, but the entire group, simply rising into the air, suddenly disappeared. The curse was complete, and they were never seen again. Before we go on, we do have another message from a past guest.
Hello and Merry Christmas from the Scottish Big Cat Research Team to all Wyrd Wessex fans. Stay weird.
Friend of the show, Paul MacDonald.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Paul.
From MacDonald Armories as well, if you're not aware of Paul's work.
That's it. I was going to make a joke about needing to make all those swords for defending himself against the big cats, but, Paul's a lovely guy. He doesn't want to hurt any big cats.
No.
To defend the big cats.
Maybe so, yeah.
It's an impressive... I feel like I need to up my skull game. That's an impressive amount of skulls he had on his, on his side there. Let's get back to the true origin of a terrifying wild man-esque Christmas story. I'm talking about the famous medieval poem, Sir Gawain and the Green Knight.
Gawain.
Gawain. Just have a cup.
It's kind of the original folk horror Christmas story, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you. For me, it's just not Christmas until someone gets beheaded, personally. The poem begins at Camelot during the Christmas feast, where the court is holding this lavish sort of 15-day celebration. They're indulging in all the good stuff that Old Father Christmas encourages: feasts, fun, games, and then something that Arthur apparently was fond of saying was along the lines of refusing to take any food or drink, essentially, until he witnessed some marvel or a miracle or heard of some knightly deed. Something grand he wanted for his feast. And then, to upset the entire social order and the balance of everything, up rocks the Green Knight. He's this unstoppable sort of giant of a man. He's not just wearing green, but he is literally green. Green skin, green hair, green clothes, and riding a green horse. He's a walking piece of the wild, really, untouched nature that crashes into a civilized, refined court that King Arthur holds. And he's carrying not a knightly sword, but a massive axe. He proposes the beheading game, Yuletide favourite there, right? He will allow any knight to strike him once with his own axe, on the condition that in 1 year and 1 day, that knight must go and seek him out and receive a return blow. It's a truly weird concept, a Christmas challenge that kind of can guarantee death, really.
Sir Gawain takes up the challenge, lops off the Green Knight's head, and then the most fantastical moment of the whole thing, the Green Knight doesn't die. He simply picks up his own head, turns it towards the court, and instructs Gawain to meet him at the Green Chapel on the appointed day before riding off, leaving them with a headless challenge looming over the next year.
It's just a flesh wound. You silly bastard, I've lopped your head off.
The court tries to laugh it off, but they are clearly terrified. And the rest of the poem is Gawain's epic, grim winter pilgrimage across the wild, dark landscape of Britain to keep his promise. The whole journey, battling dragons and wolves in the wilderness, is about him desperately trying to keep that perfect Christian balance.
And this leads to his ultimate psychological test. Freezing, tired, hungry, lost on Christmas Eve, he finds a castle. This castle belongs to Lord Bertilac, where he makes this new, deeply weird deal. The exchange of winnings. Every day, Bertolac rides off hunting, and the deal is that when he returns, he will give Gawain what he caught, and in return, Gawain must give over what he found, or captured, or was given, while staying at the castle and recuperating. Now, this turns out to be 3 days of temptation from Bertolac's wife, who is beautiful, and she tries to seduce Gawain. Gawain manages to maintain his honour, returning 1 kiss on the first day, 2 on the second, and 3 on the third. The challenge is perfect until the final day. On that last day, the wife offers him a silk girdle, claiming it has a magical property to protect the wearer from death. Now, this, in Gawain's situation, is quite tempting, and he's quite desperate to, live. So he takes it and hides it. He doesn't give it over to Bertolac, and so he gives Bertolac the kisses, but breaks the pact by not giving over the girdle.
And when he finally meets the Green Knight at the chapel, the truth comes out. The knight faints 3 blows for the 3 days Gawain kept the pact, but nicks Gawain on the 4th blow for hiding the girdle. The Green Knight then reveals himself to be Bertolac. The entire year was a massive test set up by the sorceress Morgan Le Fay, Arthur's stepsister, to terrify the court and test their honour. The nick Gawain suffered was his punishment for his one moment of deceit.
Gawain returns to Camelot, ashamed, wearing the green sash as a sign of his failure. But the Knights of the Round Table, they don't chastise him, they absolve him. They all decide that the Knights will henceforth wear a green sash themselves, not only in recognition of Gawain's great adventure, but as a reminder to themselves of the virtue of honesty.
All right, Andy. So it's Christmas Eve. It's getting pretty late. I do need to go and wrap presents and drink some mulled wine. Just make sure I'm in good shape for tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll say the Christmas mead, but I've already promised that to Santa.
So just quickly, I thought we'd wrap up with our top 5 Christmas movies.
Yeah, good one. Oh, right. Weirdly harder than horror films.
I'm sure you've got Jingle All the Way on your list at the top somewhere.
Maybe. Krampus is there, definitely. Maybe that's in at number 5. You quite like Krampus. Let me see. I think it's called A Christmas Story or something like that. I'm going to need to look this up now, the title. I can't even remember the title of it.
I don't know that one, if that is the title.
Yeah, A Christmas Story. It's an old 80s one, which is it's like this kid trying the whole thing. He's trying to get his parents to get him a BB gun for Christmas. Anyway, really good Christmas movie. So that one. The animated Father Christmas.
Yeah.
Another blooming Christmas. That one, fantastic. It's like he was in the room, right?
That just makes me think of other stuff that Channel 4 have done, like The Stick Man, from having a small child.
Yes. Okay, yeah.
Because they did like a period where they did like Tiger That Came to Tea and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's one of the Stick Man. I'm Stick Man, I'm Stick Man, I'm Stick Man, that's me.
Probably when you think the guy that did Father Christmas also did When the Wind Blows, which is an absolutely horrifying film. So that's in at 3. Number 2 is possibly... It's a tie between the sort of quite old Christmas Carol with, what's his name in? Alistair Sim, I think, plays... Scrooge. Really good anyway. It's kind of a classic, it's got the right language and everything. It's a tie between that and Muppets Christmas Carol for second place, and the first place, just through pure childhood memory, is one called Ernest Saves Christmas.
I am going to have to make you pick a Christmas Carol version.
All right. I know how much you love one of them, so I'm going to go for the other one. How's that? I'm going to go for the Alistair Sim one.
Well, we know how Santa feels.
Honourable mention to to the Patrick Stewart one as well. I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah, shall I do mine?
Go on then.
We
What's
leave them
yours?
all hanging. I'll let you know my top 5 next Christmas. No, all right. Let's put these in an order in my head quickly. It's tough, actually. Okay. Number 5, I'm going to go for Chevy Chase Christmas Vacation. I know it's got some slightly problematic elements to it, and I know my wife hates it, but it's a film like I grew up watching. My dad likes it. Like, it's one of those, nostalgic things, right?
Yeah.
Even like, obviously Chevy Chase is a bit of a problematic character from what we hear recently, but ignoring all that. So at number 5. Then number 4. Tough, this one. All right, I'll go Die Hard. Because we know it's a Christmas film. We've established that many times.
Well, the jury's out on that one, but okay.
Well, it's number 4 on my Christmas list. Yeah, so then what order did I put the last? The top 3 is the important one. Okay, so I'm going to go number 3, Home Alone.
Mm-hmm.
I think these top 3 for me are pretty tied though, but number 3, Home Alone, the first one. Second one's good too, the rest of them are shite. But yeah, the first one, in fact, is on at the cinema again at the moment, so I'm tempted to go and watch it on the big screen because that would be quite cool.
Nice.
Yeah. So Home Alone number 3, then I think Rare Exports at number 2.
Don't really know that one.
It's great. It started off as a couple of shorts on YouTube where they did the rules of Santa, which is probably not even 5 minutes long, but there's a rules of Santa, like not misbehaving and stuff. And then there's another one where they show them out hunting Father Christmases, and they basically they take them and they train them to be Father Christmases, and they ship them all around the world. And it's like this business plan, and it becomes this film, Rare Exports. It's a lot of fun, and it's become quite a favourite in our household for the last, I don't know, however long it's been out, 10 years at least. And yeah, so that'd be that. And then number 1 is a little film called Muppets Christmas Carol.
I've heard of that.
Which is strangely close to the original, I'm told. I've never actually read A Christmas Carol, but I'm told that it sticks fairly closely to the actual story.
Yeah.
That has to go on at least on Christmas morning, if nothing else, because it's just brilliant. Love the songs. Get the songs on in the van leading up to Christmas. Yeah, that's my, I think, top 5. There are other films that we like to watch, but I think those are kind of given. And obviously after Christmas, it's Lord of the Rings trilogy all the way, extended editions.
It's got to be, isn't it? I mean, I would say they're absolutely Christmas films. On that note, I guess that is about it from us. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning on Christmas Eve.
So, Andy, actually, before we wrap up, there is one last video I'd like to play, if that's all right, just to end the episode.
Go for it, man. What have we got? Is it another guest?
Yeah. One last guest appearance by Wham!
Oh, you shit! You bastard! Oh! Dude.
2 Christmases in a row. Can I get him next year?
Last Christmas. I thought you were going to give up. That is really not. Damn it. I literally Christmas Eve, man. Christmas Eve.
I don't know what happened. Has anyone ever made it to Christmas Day?
Yes, I have, before I met you.
I happen to know that a certain Jason Buck and his son got whammed on the 1st of December.
Really?
Yeah, they were in a cafe out on day 1.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh. Right, next time, we're going to film our next Christmas special, not on Christmas Eve. It's going to be filmed on, July, I think. Get a bit of whamming in July.
I'll give you a wham in July.
Is that a promise? On that note, I'm off to leave out some mead and some mince pies, have a bit of a cry at being whammed. And
Well, there is one more guest video.
Oh,
That
excellent.
was just a trick. But there is
Hi guys, Pat Robinson here, director of The Webs of Mirkwood, Lord of the Rings fan film that me and Andy are working on. Merry Christmas to everyone at Wyrd Wessex and a Happy New Year. Did I do it right, Andy? Andy, stop. Okay. Stay weird, everyone.
I don't want to cast any aspersions here, but was Patrick under, let's say, some kind of duress to do that video?
No, he did that of his completely of his free will. He is definitely not locked in my basement until he gets the rest of the film done. Shut up and write! He's good. He's good. Thank you, Patrick. Merry Christmas to you too. On that note, I've been Andy. I've been whammed. Bastard. Head on to our website and find all the social links, podcasts, blog posts, as well as all the links to our merch, which you can find at www.wyrdwessex.co.uk.
So, Merry Christmas, and until next time,
stay weird. And remember, be nice, because I see you. Stay weird.